morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show today, 19th July 2022. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday morning. I am your host, Zipporah Mshala, and I'm joined by my co-host, Miriam Kemba. Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning, Zipporah. How are you?
I'm good.
How is your morning so far?
It's cold, but at least we're managing. And if we're going towards the end of July, and that's when it has become...
Yeah, you know, everyone is complaining. And yesterday it was very cold. Yesterday at night, it was really, really cold. I had to take some lemon tea and ensure that in the morning, before I exercise, of course, I take some tea. As usual, you know, when we come on the show, we always emphasize the need to, you know, keep your body in good shape. Exactly, Zipporah. But have you had your breakfast in the morning? We're talking about, we're speaking about the breakfast show here.
Man shall not live by bread alone.
Ah, really?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely, yes. So what do we have for our viewers this morning?
Definitely. So we have Mr. Patrick Chama, who is a youth activist and a mental health advocate. So we're going to be talking about a number of things with him, mainly issues surrounding the demolition of goods, and then on the mental health aspect, what advice does he have for teachers who have not been recruited? And better still, he is from the Levi Manawasa Medical University. What message does he have actually for health workers next week who are going to be left out? Because we expect a similar situation. We've heard that isn't it even tomorrow or this Friday?
This Friday.
This Friday, expecting the announcement of health workers as indicated last week. So what message does he have actually for those who have been left out? And that's one thing Miriam have been saying, we need to actually invest in mental health institutions as a country. And
this is something that we haven't, you know, paid attention to. You know, we have seen of recent times, Zipporah, a lot of people committing suicide and stuff like that. People are depressed, so there's need to have, you know, such kind of things in place in different institutions. But we haven't paid much attention as a country. We always have that perspective of mind saying that you know, yeah, exactly.
If you are depressed,
exactly.
Just maybe read some articles online. We don't take those things.
We don't do that.
It's a joke when someone is diagnosed with depression. As Africans, we need to change that mentality. Anyway, so we're going to be opening the phone lines at 7:30, and of course at 8 hours to hear your views on the matter. But before we start our day, as usual, Miriam, we have the health segment. Because apart from us exercising at home in the morning, we actually have to know maybe how to prevent certain diseases. So today we're going to join by Dr. Mainga Nalue, who's from the Medical Women Association of Zambia, MWAZ, and she's going to be talking about signs and symptoms of high blood pressure. And so a reminder to our viewers that the health segment is actually up for sponsorship. Don't forget, come and get visibility for your brand by sponsoring the health segment. So let's have the doctor join us on set.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Mainga Nalue, and I'm with the Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ. So this week, starting yesterday, we're discussing high blood pressure, or otherwise known as hypertension. And yesterday, we discussed what it is and the risk factors. So risk factors being those things that increase your chance of developing high blood pressure. So yesterday we looked at what it is. So we defined blood pressure as the force with which blood moves through your arteries or hits your artery walls. We talked about the three factors that affect blood pressure, which are the cardiac output, which I explained yesterday, your blood volume, and the resistance to the arteries. The other thing we talked about yesterday was the two types of high blood pressure. So we talked about primary and secondary. We talked about primary hypertension being the type of hypertension which has no underlying, which starts without any underlying or already existing disease or condition. And then we said secondary hypertension or secondary high blood pressure is high blood pressure that starts because of an already existing condition, disease, or a certain as a side effect of a certain drug that you're taking. So we also went further and talked about risk factors, and we mentioned that there are things that increase your chance of having hypertension or high blood pressure, things such as your family history. So we mentioned that mostly when you go to the hospital, they will ask you if you have anyone in your family that has high blood pressure, because that increases your chances of having high blood pressure. We also mentioned things like obesity, lack of exercise, increased salt intake, so putting too much salt in your food. We also talked about a high alcohol intake. We also talked about pre-existing diseases such as diabetes, kidney disease. So moving forward today, we're going to talk about the signs and symptoms and complications of high blood pressure. So before we go into what signs and symptoms we have, we'll start by saying, you know how everyone, you've heard that it's been said that hypertension or high blood pressure is a silent killer. Why do people call it a silent killer? Because you could go through life not knowing that you have hypertension and present with a very with a complication at the end. So if you don't have regular BP checks, especially if you have the risk factors that I mentioned, it means that you will go through life without knowing that you have high blood pressure. And this has complications that we'll talk about a little bit later. So it's very important that you have your blood pressure checked regularly. We've seen that in pharmacies, in your local clinic, we have blood pressure checks. Also, we've also noticed that every time we go to the hospital, the first thing that the doctors or nurses would do is something called vitals. So this is a vital check of, so these vitals are done when you first go to the hospital. And part of the vital check is blood pressure check. This is very important because we're trying to catch people with high blood pressure or low blood pressure early enough before they experience complications. So if you present with signs and symptoms, mostly these signs and symptoms are very non-specific. What do I mean by non-specific? I mean, when you present with these symptoms, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have high blood pressure. It could be anything else. So some of the symptoms that people present with are things like headaches, nausea, and shortness of breath. So you know when you have shortness of breath, it could be something else. When you have a headache, it could be something else. When you have nosebleeds, it could be something else. So the signs and symptoms that you present with don't always mean that you have blood pressure. And that's why the diagnosis of high blood pressure is clinical. So we'll go into looking at the complications, because I mentioned that most people who present for the first time present with complications. So why does high blood pressure cause complications? We mentioned that this is the blood pressure is the force with which blood moves through your arteries. So if this force is too high, it ends up damaging your arteries. And it could damage your arteries in any part of your body, in any organ of your body. So some of the complications that people experience are things such as, the most important one being stroke. This is because high blood pressure is the most common cause of stroke in our setting. So imagine presenting for the first time with stroke, and that's how we know that you have high blood pressure. That wouldn't be a good thing. So that's why we always need to have regular checks, have regular BP checks, so that we know if you have high blood pressure, there are things that we can do to make sure we normalize it and you increase your quality of life. So one complication we've mentioned is stroke. Another complication could be a heart attack, heart failure. If these arteries are damaged, let's say in your kidneys, the arteries in your kidneys are damaged, you could have renal failure or kidney failure. And then one of the other very important complications is a complication in your eyes. So hypertension or high blood pressure could actually lead to visual loss. So you could get blind because of untreated hypertension. So these complications I've mentioned doesn't mean that when you have high blood pressure, you for sure get these complications. No. If you have your high blood pressure checked and treated by a medical professional, you avoid getting these complications and you live a better life. Thank you for watching Health Corner. My name is Dr. Manga Nalube, and I'm with the Medical Women's Association.
There you have it. That was the Health Corner by Dr. Nalube. I hope you did learn one or two things with regards to high blood pressure. She did mention that you have to do regular checkups to avoid having stroke, and also if you don't get yourself treated, you can end up, blind. It's important that you go to the nearest hospital and have yourself checked to see how your blood pressure is, to avoid, complicated health conditions. Zipporah, your thought on that? A lot of people say, BP, why don't you have yourself checked?
And that's one thing we have change of Zambia. When you say BP, that's blood pressure, isn't it? So all of us have blood pressure, but it can be low or high. I think one takeaway for me from the Health Corner is that sometimes you can have the signs and symptoms, but it may not be actually high blood pressure. So you actually have to visit a health facility to actually get tested and for it to be confirmed. Exactly. I think that's one takeaway for me, which I hate.
Exactly. Anyway, it's good that we still have the doctors, regular to give us these tips on our health. So out there, people, please, if you want to watch more of this, please do sponsor the Health Corner so that you can get more healthy tips with regards to your health. We need to know. We need to know about what is happening to our health. The doctors have been doing a very, very good job in terms of, giving us tips on how to prevent certain diseases. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, definitely. And just now we take a look at the money market. And just a reminder to viewers that the money market is also up for sponsorship, just like the Health Corner. So before we start our day, as usual, we have to know how the kwacha is faring against major currencies in the world. So let's just take a look at the money market. On the foreign exchange desk, there we have the United States dollar, which is buying at 16 kwacha 29 way, selling at 16 kwacha 61 way.
Just on the US dollar, Zipporah, yesterday the kwacha was 16 kwacha, is it 02 ngwe or something? 06 ngwe.
I think that's depreciated.
Yeah.
So the US dollar 16 kwacha 29 way, that's on the buying part, selling at 16 kwacha 61 way. The Great British Pound, which is buying at 19 kwacha 54 way, selling at 19 kwacha 92 way. The euro, which is buying at 16 kwacha 53 way, selling at 16 kwacha 86 way. The South African rand, which is buying at 0 kwacha 95 way, and selling at 0 kwacha 97 way. So I think really on the South African rand, we are maintaining the 0 point.
We are maintaining,
yeah. On the kwacha there, we can see on the selling part is going rapidly,
towards 17. Exactly, yeah.
So that's our money market for today.
Yes, zooming in the headlines. I know a lot of things have been happening around. We want to see what is happening in our communities. Exactly, Zipporah. We did see a story done by one of our colleagues yesterday, Nelson, where mobile money operators have now started, going back. Yeah. So this is barely how many days? We can count.
It's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks or something, yeah.
And so yesterday what happened is that at near Simon Lane Market, so now that some booth owners actually, when people set up a booth, normally they put concrete around it.
Yes, they do that.
I don't know if it's because of the same issue whereby booths are being removed. Some people have made their booths mobile. It's just like, it's more like they've got legs. The booths have got, it's more like how a stool is.
Yeah.
So you can place it anywhere. It's not permanent. So now those are the boots which we found that side. You have got like legs, like so asking them, no, you've just brought this here. No, this has been here for some time. Why did not establish like the other ones here? So that was really the situation there.
Oh, okay, really?
People have now become innovative with their boots and all the internet in it. More for them to just run away with their boot, they get a wheelbarrow man, carries the boot off the floor.
Yeah, anyway, I know this is one way, they have argued to say we need to survive, so the only means and ways that we need to do this. But anyway,
that's one thing people have to understand. Mobile money is not illegal.
Yeah.
It's actually accepted. It helps the financial sectors.
Yeah, it does that a lot. It's
not illegal, but what has been termed as illegal is the setting up, the careless or indiscriminate.
Because they need to be given where they're supposed to be reallocated by the council. But yeah, anyway, let's get to see what that story is all about.
Who's legitimately operating a telephone booth and has been asked to remove in undesignated areas will be indemnified with another. I think that should be an underlying factor.
This assurance was made on Monday, 11th July 2022. However, some mobile money operators in Lusaka's central business district have resorted to remounting the booths in places which were not affected during the demolition exercise. Those who have resorted to the decision of mounting their booths along Simon Moore Lane and Lumumba Road state that this is the only option they have to help themselves earn a living.
Everything, that's when you're going to tell us, okay, Sarah, you're going to stay there, this one you're going to stay there. And it's not right because we have been using our own money to buy these boots.
Okay, can I speak now?
No, you cannot speak because I'm still speaking.
Okay.
And right now, I'm very upset because a lot of stuff they have been destroyed. Like mabuti ya bantu ya mbili yananongeka in the name of we are cleaning. I don't even know the millions of cleaning are putting the time. You understand? So are they going to pay them back? I'm asking you, are they going to pay them back?
Well, Gary and Combo did say that they're going to be compensated.
Okay, we're going to wait for that.
Yeah. We're
going to wait for that. And actually,
okay, now, first of all, let me tell you, you're not the only voter. We voted as well. Everybody, excuse me, can I speak now?
Okay,
I'll let you speak.
Okay,
you're not the only voter. We all voted. And this has nothing to do with voting. When the government leads, when the government says we need to have a cleaner environment by placing booths strategically, okay, properly, not a place where businesses are obstructed, not a place where you've got filth everywhere, not a place where a booth is being used as a urinary and a toilet.
No.
Okay, can you show me one? Excuse me, I'm talking, you were talking. Sister, you were speaking. Let me speak.
Yes,
okay?
You can show the people this.
No, hold on a second. No, let me. What do you mean always closed? People always urinate in the back.
No.
That's a fact. No.
What's this? Everything.
However, Lusaka businessman Simon Chitambala says the unsystematic way of mounting the booths, especially in trading places, is inconvenient.
That installing booths haphazardly hampers businesses you have, imagine for a moment, a business owner, a man who owns a building, or a woman that owns a building here in the CBD. That man has a lot of statutory obligations. They pay water, electricity, ground rates, rent, ZESCO, employees. And yet you have someone who brings a booth and they put the booth right in front of the doorstep of their building. What that does is...
Mr. Chitambala has pleaded with the local authority to beef up monitoring mechanisms in the CBD, alleging that suspected cadres are involved in the illegal allocation of trading places, while Opposition Acting Patriotic Front President Given Lubinda has maintained that the removal of booths is unprogressive to the country.
Why should we go and import prefabricated booths when our own metal workers can do them as well as they are? If you go and consult the PF manifesto, you will see that therein we actually pledged that we shall encourage those operators to operate from well-designed, home-constructed booths.
Meanwhile, Local Government Permanent Secretary in charge of administration, Mambo Hamaundu, denies allegation of cadres being involved and warned the mobile operators to desist from doing so.
I think that people must not take the law into their hand. We have local authorities across the country. There are actually 116 local authorities across the country. And looking at Lusaka particularly, there's Lusaka City Council. So anyone who needs trading place must go to Lusaka City Council. The issue of cadres allocating land is neither here nor there. It is illegal. Anyone who's getting land from a cadre, anyone who's being allocated a trading place from a cadre is doing so at their own risk, because cadres are not the local authorities.
The wait continues among the mobile money operators on when the compensation will be a reality. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
There you have it. I hope you did get one or two things with regards to mobile booth. We have seen a lot of concerns by one of Lusaka businessman, Simon Well, who is saying, you know, these mobile booths are being, they're supposed to be placed strategically by the Lusaka City Council, the relevant authority, but now people are now going back after that cleanup exercise.
They feel like the area is done, so they can go.
But it was like we were told by local government minister Garin Kombo. He did mention Zipporah that it's beyond that. It's about ensuring that the city is clean, the sanity in the city. You know, he spoke about finding, you know, certain things in the booths and what, it was all over dirty and stuff like that. So, and we hope that they adhere to the directive that they have been given so that, you know, they don't get themselves in bad ways with the law. Because imagine you go and set up your booth again when council removed you from there. You'll find yourself in a different situation that you don't want to, you know, talk about, where maybe at police and then you have your booth destroyed or stuff like that. But anyway, we hope for the best for them. Exactly, because we do understand that this is how they survive. This is how they are making ends meet. And then these are young people, and we shouldn't forget the fact that a majority of young youths, or young people in Zambia, are not employed. Yeah, so this is one way of them surviving. Your thoughts on that?
Maybe going also on doing the headlines yesterday, we did see the Patriotic Front weighing in on issues in the country. For example, one of the issues which are interesting is the AU summit, which they say maybe Zambia will not really achieve its goal, like its targeted goal of the AU summit, because when you saw 5 heads of state actually attending out of the intended 13. Of course, we knew that 12 so far registered, but then the 13th one was not yet registered. So we're supposed to have 12 heads of state so far. So they had a press briefing yesterday saying we can't make decisions which will affect all the other member countries with 5 heads of state anyway. So we want, in fact, I think right now it's already, we promised our viewers, Miriam, that we're going to open our phone lines at 7:30.
Exactly,
so just open our phone lines just now. So do call on the numbers that are scrolling on your screen and give us your view as we just talk about various trending issues in the country right now before our main interview on economic activities. And so another issue is the declaration of assets. Just last week we saw some ministers, so this is both and some members of parliament as well as those from the Patriotic Front declaring the assets. And so far we've heard a lot of talk. And so, for example, one of the people who has actually being talked about is the finance minister, Dr. Stumbiko Sokotwani.
Yes.
Who's so there we saw Kidem yesterday saying some people have been civil servants all their lives. How did they get that? But in my own thinking, Miriam, I was thinking that people do have side hustles.
Yeah.
Should we actually just should we, I don't know, that's my own thought.
Should we rely on saying, no, just because I'm a civil servant, I cannot do another type of work?
Yes, but you can have a side hustle.
Exactly.
That it's just a salary. I don't know really. I'm sure maybe if we ask a governance expert or something, people to answer.
And you know, I've seen a lot of debates being put up by those in the opposition saying the people who are now ruling, you know, are trying to declare their assets more than so that they can allegedly, you know, store. When it comes to that time, they can allegedly store. Others are not even worthy what they claim to have. So, yeah, those were some of the concerns from opposition people saying that, no, how come this one is declaring 19 million? How come are they worthy?
They no need them to investigate.
Exactly.
Because they're investigating the 15 houses. Or they're saying if a civil servant can have 320 million in the bank, that's just money. They're saying then even former First Lady can have 15 houses in just 7 years of the president. So they're calling for fairness. If we sum it all, they're just calling.
But that's how it should be, Zipporah. If we are going to say that we're fighting, we're trying to advocate the fight against corruption, meaning that with regard whether you are in the opposition, you're in the ruling, there's need for the law investigative wings to follow you. If they find something is not all right.
Anyway, since we're just investigating, so we're not saying no, this person stole that. We want to establish the truth, and there's nothing wrong with
there's nothing wrong with that.
People should be ready to defend how they get their money. show the tax which they paid, maybe show proof of their businesses and things like that, just to. And yesterday also saw the vice president was actually indicating that reporters to the anti-corruption committee, we are ready. So meaning they're trying to show that they're not doing anything illegal, exactly.
And this is how it should be, because if we're going to say there's need for transparency in the country and we are fighting corruption, this is what we need to see from our leaders. We don't want to see a situation where investigative wings cannot follow you until you're out of the office. That's when they can follow you. No. If they think or suspect that there's something suspicious with you, they need to do that. Yeah.
Anyway, let's just take a look at that press briefing for the Patriotic Fund that was done yesterday. And join us in the conversation by calling or just leaving a message on Facebook. Let's take a look at that story.
Days placed their microscope on the ruling party, asking for answers on what exactly is obtaining insofar as honoring the promises made to the Zambian people before ascending into office is concerned. The famous teacher recruitment of 30,496 people, as announced last week, has seen mixed reactions, those of excitement and some of doubt. While those recruited can safely sleep, stakeholders, especially those using the political lens, have questioned when they will be put on the payroll, challenging government to release the needed information for the public good. According to the opposition Patriotic Front presidential hopeful, Emmanuel Mwamba, government has kept useful information out of the public, adding that teachers will only get paid using the resources allocated in the 2023 national budget.
We are congratulating the teachers that have been recruited, the 30,000 teachers that have been recruited, but we appeal to government to provide all information. For example, this was not provided for them to be on the payroll this year. Government should be in the forefront of telling our expectant teachers that they'll be on the payroll in 2023. This lack of providing information is what raises these concerns, and we hope that they go through with the issues of the 11,200 health personnel that they'll be recruiting. We have some concerns on issues of corruption. For example, we saw someone who's a brother to the president being recruited in foreign service going to Malaysia. That is corruption. Nepotism is part of corruption.
But government, through the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane, has told the nation at a gathering in Lusaka that funds are available and all those recruited will be put on the payroll without any means of corruption, beginning the third term of 2022.
We're going to employ 6,000 teachers. Some people thought we were just politicking, but it has happened. And the good thing that is having to be bribed, people are getting jobs. People are getting jobs because they qualify for those jobs, and no one is going to pay a bribe to get employed. The issue of the medical staff is also on track. I'm hopeful that this can also be done very quickly. Some will announce next week, maybe yes. Otherwise, the money for that is available. Okay, the money for that is available, and as soon as these people are hired, again, there's no negotiations to say put me on the payroll. If anyone tells you put me on the payroll, report that person immediately so that the ACC can arrest them.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
So that was a story from the Patriotic Front, and I just weighing in on various issues. And I think, Miriam, one thing which I don't know if I can say I like, so to say, is in Zambia, normally if a party goes out of power, they just disappear. But I think we've seen a Patriotic Front hold on and have been offering checks and balances. So
exactly.
That's the role of the opposition to actually keep the government of the day accountable. And I can say that they're really trying not to fade, like you saw other political parties fading altogether.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they've even maintained, like every Friday they'll be doing press briefings to just keep the government of the day accountable. But of course, I think it's better if we hear from a governance expert. For example, we heard sentiments as 2 days ago, where there were concerns stating that many politicians in Zambia like condemning things, but for example, the recruitment of teachers actually brings to shame because people are saying there will be no teacher recruitment and all that. And even now, Miriam, we've been calling for stakeholders to actually maybe offer maybe constructive checks and balances. Right now, I've seen sentiments from different stakeholders saying we congratulate the new government for printing the names of teachers. It's the first step towards recruiting. I mean, really, we've been already assured anyway. But there's been this talk. Yeah, so for example, they were saying you commend them for printing the names of teachers. It's the first step towards actually recruiting. That was from the PF media director yesterday, where he issued a statement. So,
yes.
Anyway, that's the political scene for you in Zambia. So what is your take on what is currently
but you know, when it comes to opposition political parties, we want to see them offering the necessary checks and balance to the current administration so that they are in check each and every time. We don't want to see an opposition where the current administration does something and then, you know, just for the sake of criticizing, you want to criticize, but you should give credit where it's due. I know the previous administration, which is the Patriotic Front, did, you know, do one or two things which are very, very good to the country and helped the country in achieving its development goals. So yeah, so as we go forth, we hope that they maintain, you know, offering the necessary checks and balance. It's one way of pushing the current administration to do the necessary things. We don't want to see the government sleeping and just say, no, we are happy we've seen the recruitment of teachers, we're happy we've seen the recruitment of health workers, but what are they doing about other things? We know that they have said that they're trying to revamp our economy, you know, trying to ensure that they boost the business sector, and yeah, so forth, so on and so forth.
Yeah, anyway, so that's it. And also, we also saw another story yesterday where actually I did a story with the Council of Non-Governmental Organizations chairperson, Mr. Camnet, who was actually just mentioning, because I asked him, stating that in Zambia we're trying to actually ensure that our democracy survives. But we've seen the appointment of some people from civil society. Does it mean, and opposition political parties, does it mean we're killing our democracy? Who's going for the government? Accountable. So according to him, although they're expecting a different answer, he said we are not killing our democracy for the development of our country. So, exactly.
And you know, he was right.
And he said what's important is for us to make sure that a new generation of civic leaders actually rise.
Yeah.
What the government
we need to do that. Talking about civic leaders, are we doing enough as youths in the country, Zipporah, in ensuring that we participate, we add our voice to national development issues? Are we doing that? Or is it a matter of, no, today, where are we going to, you know, celebrate from? Where are we going to hang out from and stuff like that? Are we doing enough to contribute to governance issues of the country as youths? So this is one thing that we should also think about.
Yeah. Given that youths actually make up more than 50% of the population, so whatever we do now, that is what our future will look like. If we're just on TikTok, that's what our future will look like. I mean, if we're just on Instagram,
basically, we're not saying being on TikTok is bad or Instagram, but yes, but spending productive activities. We have seen, you know, a lot of people would. Half of the time you spend 1 hour on your smartphone, on Facebook.
They spend more than they have got 24 hours. Believe me, they spend more than 12 hours on their phone.
On your phone, but
on your phone,
exactly.
On your phone.
But if you were, you know, if you were to put that 12 hours into something productive, imagine what you would have achieved. So anyway, let's get interacted with our viewer out there. Please do call us and give us your views with regards to what we're talking about this morning. And in studio at 8, we will be joined by a youth activist who is also a mental health advocate. We are going to be talking about youth participation in economic activities. What is your take on that? Are we doing enough as youth in ensuring that we contribute to the country's economic development? Are we adding our voice? Or we are just doing something else? Yeah.
Yes, and I think, Miriam, really, I think it's just now that we began talking about issues of economic participation what is the role of the youth? Because when, if you look at, I think there's been this talk, Miriam, whereby if you look at our education curriculum, it tells teachers to actually like be aggressive in contributing. Our contribution to the economy depends on us being employed. Because you know that time I was listening to a radio program where a woman was complaining about her husband. He's just a youth, I think maybe somewhere 31. She was complaining that ever since my husband lost a job, I provide everything. And while he says, I'm looking for a job. But what happened to actually you providing a job for others? What happened to you actually coming up with some type of maybe business to empower yourself? So there's just this thing. So we find that that person is just at home drinking, and that's just youth being unproductive. So that person at home drinking says, I didn't found a job, I didn't found a job. So who says people are born to find jobs? Who says people are born
You can create one. You can create one and employ as many as possible, you know? Yeah, so you don't have to wait for a white-collar job.
A mindset change, and I think it's good now that we started hearing this talk saying, as youth, we need to change our mindset and actually be innovative.
Talking about mindset change, Zipporah, don't you think there's need for us as early as when you're in the primary level of your education, we're supposed to introduce such subject in schools? Just to train our youths to become, you know, real entrepreneurs, so that in future you choose whether you're going to go in the employment sector, you want to be a civil servant and stuff like that, or you want to venture into your own business.
Talking about that, that's how come we've heard people actually killing themselves because they're not civil servants. But who said you cannot be a civil servant?
Like what we have seen.
Over. For example, we've got big countries like the USA. Are you telling me that everybody is employed by the government? But many people there are successful because they've embraced many other ways of making money. They've embraced digital platforms of making money and just other businesses. But here in Zambia, you have to be in the civil service. If you're not in the civil service, you're not valuable more. Like people think as if the civil service is outfit. It is good to contribute, to the civil service, but there are many other ways
that you can do.
Contribute. And even talking about issues of teachers, we did a story yesterday, Miriam, where the teachers who've been left out of the 30,000 teacher recruitment are calling on government to tell them the way forward. Of course, we've heard government saying this is actually the first recruitment and it was targeted at primary school teachers, and they've assured them. But for some, the strange thing is that they feel like their dreams have been completely shattered. Their whole life is over. But should it be the case, what else can we do really apart from maybe depending on being employed? If you're not employed, doesn't mean it's the end of the world for you. And I remember yesterday I was actually talking to the secondary school teachers union who were actually calling for counseling of those who've been left out. That's the general secretary.
But you were on the ground with the teachers yesterday. How was the environment like? How was it? How was the situation?
Some feel like not only they feel like their dream career has been shut. So the words they were saying, you can't shut my career like this. So they feel like there's that we are in a closed space. We are in a closed space. We need to actually go out of the box that we're in. We need to stop being limited.
You know, we were having a talk with my editor yesterday who was saying, you know, we don't have to limit ourselves. You know, when it comes to teachers, why can't we form a cooperative or something? You know, you come together, maybe 5 teachers, and then, you know, come up with your own school, a private sector, and then employ others. That's one way you can empower yourself. I know government can't employ each and everyone, but we have seen that a majority of people have been employed, and this is something that we have recommended them for, and different stakeholders continue to recommend them for. But Zipporah, as we move forward, in as much as they say this is not the first process, they will still need to recruit more teachers. We will still see the process of other people being left out.
And that's the concern, because we continue having a backlog. They'll keep these people in the system. Meaning that, for example, if you complete this year, it doesn't mean that you have to wait for a long time before you're in the system.
Exactly. So during that time that you are waiting for government to employ you, what are you going to do during that period in order to sustain yourself and help yourself make ends meet and also contribute to the country's economy? So what are you going to do in that period? These are the questions that we need to introspect ourselves and then just try to find out from ourselves what we can do next. Yeah.
And just like, yes, definitely. And so just like the same secondary school teachers union general secretary was saying yesterday, saying, maybe come 10 years time, we find that those who are left out maybe be doing better than those who are recruited.
Yes. As
long as we just are innovative enough, we've got CDF, I mean, let's form cooperatives.
Let's form cooperative, let's take advantage of these opportunities, Ipora. Let's take advantage of the opportunity.
And you know, when talking about issues of cooperatives, there's another interesting thing. Just on Sunday, we were with the chairperson for investment and empowerment under the UPND, who was saying many people struggle to go and look for people to form a cooperative with. What I don't know is that you can even form a cooperative as a family. Just get your family members, form a cooperative, with a business plan, go and apply. I'm sure that
maybe there might be trust issues. I cannot form a cooperative with Ipora. I don't trust Ipora. Form a cooperative with your own family. This is what we want to see.
And get empowered, really. So I think teachers who have been left out should actually take advantage of CDF.
They should, Zipporah.
And we'll be talking about
I know they have complained about when you look at the private sector when it comes to education. They're complaining about the salaries being below the minimum wage. And this is something they're getting less than 1.5, 1.6, 1 what, you know.
And I was surprised they didn't get 800.
Wow, really?
800 kwacha, 100 kwacha 8.
But how can someone...
As a teacher, you come up with all those, my teaching plan, or you map book, 800 kwacha. There's actually one teacher yesterday who was saying, I gave up my job, I now sell tomatoes because of getting 800 kwacha. For me, that's not sustainable. I went to school, why should I get 800 kwacha?
And then from now, her current business, now she's selling tomato. How is she?
I think it's on a hand-to-mouth basis, where we make a little every day. Yeah. So, but for her, she feels like that's...
But I'm sure,
with teaching and the small salary.
I can imagine, 800 kwacha, Zipporah. You have to wait for a month. I think, looking at the high cost of living, I think that's something that it should be looked upon. We need strong policies.
But people don't actually follow that because you know that according to the labor laws, not even a maid is supposed to get 800 kwacha. It's 800 for a maid in Zambia. According to the labor laws, 840 kwacha minimum wage. Meaning that teacher is even getting less than a salary
for a domestic worker, exactly.
So I think it's also an issue of the influx of like the job market in terms of especially teachers, because almost everyone was going for teaching. So I think due to the influx, I think private schools are taking advantage. And we heard yesterday from the ZANEC chairperson who was actually saying that these schools need to be inspected because they make a lot of money, but why do they pay?
Yeah, they have commercialized schools, so we are making money.
So before we talk too much, anyway, let's just take a look at that story on aggrieved teachers, and when we come back, we'll be joined by our guest, Mr. Patrick Chama, who is a youth activist and a mental health advocate. So he's also going to be touching on issues of mental health for those who've been left out. So let's just take a look at the story.
On 15th July 2022, the Ministry of Education announced the recruitment of 30,496 teachers into the civil service. Out of these teachers, 59% were women, 41% male, and 196 being persons with disabilities. This has brought a lot of disappointment as the Ministry of Education indicates that over 100,000 teachers applied, meaning that over 70,000 people have been disappointed. We spoke to some teachers in Lusaka who are demanding to know what criteria was used, because some of them say that they finished maybe 10 years ago, but they have not been recruited in comparison to some people who finished only 2 years ago. Among them is Mr. Roy Chia, who is a teacher at Wale Primary School in Luano constituency, who says he has been volunteering at that school and even constructed some teachers' houses and classrooms, and so wonders how come he has been left out.
They can't shut my dream, they can't shut my career like this. I need to be considered on this one. I have all the phone numbers for the debts for everyone. The PTA chairperson, I have the contact details to verify this. I really want to go back to my school because I was the teacher in charge that side. The school was handed over to the government under my watch. We made sure that there were staff houses were built. 1x3 classroom block was built under my watch as a school head. But the government, by then, they brought in government teachers leaving us out.
We spoke to another teacher, Ms. Regina Mulinga, who says that private schools are not motivating because they pay as low as 800 kwacha.
I even left the school where I used to work because of the little that I was getting. It could not suffice to support the family. You know, getting 800 kwacha in the what? In the private school. Right now, I'm just a trader with 4 children, with a family to support. Imagine, I'm just selling tomatoes alongside the load.
A human rights activist, Mr. Francis Kamwena, states that civic leaders have a duty of maybe assuring the constituency members who have been left out.
These are the people who voted for them. They should also come and motivate them. They should also come in and see why some of them have been left. Because according to some of the stories which I'm getting, is that some of them, they were even doing some volunteering. You know, some of them, they were even told where you are doing your volunteering, you should apply there. But instead, it might be also the wrong direction where they were given. Because some of them, it's like where they were applying, there were a lot of competition.
Camnet News also spoke to the Secondary School Teachers Union of Zambia, SESTU's General Secretary, Mr. Sitibekso Wamuyua, who says that teachers who have been left out need counseling.
The people that have been left out this year need more counseling, social counseling, than those that were left out in the previous recruitments. Yes. They need more counseling. Because everybody thought I was going to be one of the people who were going to be picked. But the reality is that we had more than 100,000 applicants, and the available space was only for 30,000. What happened to the 70,000?
Camnet News will reach out to the Ministry of Education to actually find out what criteria was used and to get answers that many people are demanding for. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Thank you for still staying tuned with us. This is the Camnet TV Breakfast Show, in case you're just joining us. In studio, we are joined by Patrick Chama, a youth activist and also a mental health advocate. We have seen in the past, just from the clip that we are from playing, where some of the teachers who were not recruited by government, different stakeholders are calling that they should be offered counseling. We saw in the recent others committing suicide. So in studio this morning, we are joined by a youth advocate, a healthy mental health advocate, who is going to help us discuss more of our topic in details. And our topic of discussion this morning is youth participation in economic activities. Good morning, Mr. Chama, and welcome to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, welcome to the show. Sure. Yes, and so maybe just a reminder to our viewers out there that you can actually participate and contribute by calling the numbers that are scrolling on the screen, or leaving us a message on Facebook, or talking about the role that youth play in contributing to the economy, as well as mental health issues in relation to the teachers that were left out of the teacher recruitment exercise. Just like you saw from the clip that you just played, they are devastated. Some people feel like their career has actually been shut down. But does it mean that not being recruited is the end of someone's career? What should we do really as a country to actually change people's mindset and make sure that people are positive? And so, Mr. Chama, maybe let's just begin with the issue of the teachers. Here in Zambia, we have not really invested in mental health institutions. Yes. So in such a situation, where really can these teachers actually get the help that they need? We've heard, for example, the secondary school teachers union saying the teachers need counseling, but do we actually have institutions everywhere? Or maybe what's the situation here in Zambia in terms of mental health institutions? And
also not forgetting the fact that we did see some of the teachers who have been left out commit suicide. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, I saw one of the posts on social media where a man, like, he's been applying for 10 years, was left out and he committed suicide. It's so bad, indeed. Especially me who's doing mental health, knowing too well that obviously here in Zambia, we are so much dependent on employment, government employment and the likes. Well, it's really bad and sad that person was supposed to be, to contribute massively, especially on the economic part. Not only that, who knows, maybe that person was supposed to be, maybe was a family pillar, because I did the research a bit about the person. So here in Zambia, we don't have institutions where you can direct people to, as in to go and get the counseling, apart from the Chainama, where I'm coming from. However, this is an introduction of this psychosocial counseling, and obviously it's important that people should put into practice what the knowledge they have acquired. I think there's so much laziness in us. Why do I say so? We don't practice what we have acquired, especially on the knowledge part. Believe me, there are a lot of ways where we can reach out to these people. A lot of ways we can reach out. So those people got knowledge about counseling thing. Like personally, I've got that certificate in psychosocial counseling. So, and these platforms can be of great help us for now. While we are calling for the government to put up these institutions, I remember coming here, it should be a few months ago, we discussed about creating these opportunities, institutions, where I'll be able to reach out, as if it was a prophecy, to say, okay, these things will happen. So, in a nutshell, what we are trying to say is that government should look into it, that they come up with some institutions whereby these people who have acquired knowledge can do the practice, and it's easy for them to be reached to, or some people can reach out to them via some institutions.
Okay, so does it mean we don't have China right now where someone can actually get this counseling?
Yeah,
for mental health?
Okay, yeah, surely. We do have China, the main campus here in Lusaka. We also have an institution there in Ndola for mental health. But for now, my advice is that people who need to be counseled on, who needs these services of counseling, they should be able to reach out to church institutions and church institutions, church bodies, not only church bodies. Also, if possible, let them reach out to us who are specialists into mental health and
Let's talk about the stigma that has always been attached. You know, as someone, when you talk about Chainama, people would always associate with someone who is mentally disturbed. But let's talk about this stigma which has been attached to it, where a lot of people have seen a lot of young people in Zambia currently, with a high number of young people not being in the service, not being employed, are depressed. Yes. Let's talk about this. How can they help themselves and just remove the stigma of saying, no, if I go to Chainama, I'll be considered to be maybe I'm mentally disturbed or something.
Yeah. So true. I want to put something here. The thing.
So we have a call, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Just a minute. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, you are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Kindly tell us your name, where you are calling us from, and go ahead with the contribution.
My name is Hanford Chava.
Yes, Mr. Chava.
I'm calling you from Lusaka.
Yes, you can go ahead.
I happen to be the spokesperson for DICTA.
Yes.
A very, very interesting discussion indeed. Yes. When you talk about the role that youth can actually play in economic development is quite paramount. And just to concur with the person in the studio, you will discover that one of the challenges that we are facing basically has to do with us being able, or the youth being able, to depend only on formal employment. Now, when you look at the countries that have developed over time, the countries that are actually leading in terms of economic development, basically they rely much on research and innovation. And what we can do when we look at the population, the ICT population of the youth, we discover that most of the youth in Zambia are actually more on social media than any other platform. And social media is actually very, very productive in its own course, because youth can actually engage in various research, various has got a program called the ICT Innovation Program, pure for the youth, where you have got ideas or initiatives. You might not have the money, but you have the idea or initiative. You can actually come to Victor, tell us that particular idea, tell us that particular innovation, and then we will be able to put you through our cohort and be able to support that innovation from an innovative point into something that can be a business venture. And I'm also very happy to mention that from the time we started in 2016, we so far built over 400 youth whose ideas have now become business ventures. It doesn't matter whether we are in school or not, as long as we have an idea, a brilliant idea, subject to a particular market situation, you might be able to have some come to Victor, tell us that particular idea, and then you will be able to expand that idea into a business venture where you will be able to make more money and even create employment for other people. So the challenge is on us youth. We need to take up this particular mantle, being able to use the ICT gadgets that we have productively, not insulting people on social media, not blackmailing people, not cyberbullying people. Let's put the ICT and other entities that we have as youth into doing what we do productive venture. Otherwise, thank you very much for very nice discussion, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so that's Mr. Chawa, the corporate affairs manager at Zix. Actually, he's our news source.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes, sure. So I think that's a very interesting contribution there. What's your response to what he has said?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to concur with him where he said about reaching out to people in like social media. You see, I want also to answer the question where it was about I want to make a comment on the teachers. You see, in life, when an opportunity hits you up, then you grab it. You don't have to be bragging about it and be excited. Social media has got a huge following. Almost everyone is trying to find out what's happening, and then you open the page only to find someone is bragging. Okay, there's this post, I've made it, this and the likes, and someone is left out. Are you seeing? It's contributing to this mental health effect. It's affecting us mentally. There are those who are left out, and someone is bragging on their social media. So now what you're trying to say is that if God has given you this opportunity, you shouldn't be bragging about certain things. You just have to be quiet and thank God. Because obviously, the more you keep on bragging about certain things, the more you keep on bragging about an opportunity. Don't you know that that opportunity can be gotten from you? So those are some of the things we need to be putting into consideration. Understanding to say it's an opportunity just come at the right time. The reason why that opportunity is given to you is because God knows that you can utilize it. I think you can utilize it. Maybe you're not even it's not going just to help you, it's going to help the people surrounding you. So it has come to you. It hasn't been given to that other person. And those who are not being given that opportunity, I want to encourage you. Those teachers, don't even be depressed. It's an opportunity to become your own CEO. You see, it's an opportunity for you to come up with a good, maybe a school of your own. It's not always relying on depending on the government, waiting on the government to employ you. But at some point, you need, like I said, sometimes us as youths, especially youths, because if you have seen, majority of the people who have been employed, they're youths. And the majority of the youth people who are left out are youths. Even that person who killed himself was a youth. So what are we trying to say? Let us not entertain the thoughts of laziness. We have the knowledge in us. We have acquired that knowledge. Knowledge should help you to help others. I think that the reason why you're going to school to get that knowledge is to do what? To help others. I think that I'm here because I want to help others with the knowledge I've acquired from mental health sector. So that's how it is. So when the opportunity, like the government opportunity, pumps up, you've gotten it, never should you brag about it. Those who are left out, it's an opportunity for you for something big. Patience, please. This is where we are lacking from, madam. This is where we are lacking from. Patience. We youths, most of the thing that consumes us is patience. We lack patience. Why? I want to give you an example. In China, there's what we call bump tree. This bump tree.
We have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Mr. Zulu calling me from Maken.
Mr. Zulu, it's good to know that Maken is watching. Please go ahead with your contribution.
That is a very good program. And it's very encouraging. So that's for encouragement on this year. can help with people. I think you can give the line.
Okay.
Yes, so that the customer will share ideas, we can help with this.
Okay, if you're able to leave a message on the number that are scrolling, so I'm sure we'll be able to get back.
We'll be able to get back to you after the show.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. It's good to know that people out there are actually like appreciating this. And Miriam, even before we move on, there's another issue. Like, for example, if you saw the corporate affairs manager at Zicta, the communication manager at Zicta, who said, for example, they have got this youth empowerment program for ICTs. And that's one thing here in Zambia what I've noticed. Many stakeholders have been saying that Zambians are very good at complaining, but when you give them an opportunity, they don't seize it.
They don't seize it.
How many people who don't have jobs have actually applied for CDF? You find that few, because they've already disqualified themselves without even applying. They say, we
the
know
process.
won't pass through. So like what happened, is it last week, we saw there was a company which was actually donating trucks and all these things to youth. But they said to teach a lesson to those who have got negative thinking. We're only going to give these trucks to only those people who formed cooperatives. So these are people who formed cooperatives as they try to get money from CDF. So they're saying we're only going to give these trucks to those people in cooperatives to show those naysayers that you'll always be left out. So that's what.
So there's a need for a mindset change. Exactly.
Yes, definitely. So you can maybe respond, or you can just go ahead.
Yes. So I was talking about patience. The beauty about being patient about certain things, it's number one, it doesn't entertain that thoughts of laziness. Like you said, change of mindset. So in the process of waiting for certain things to happen, that's where now you begin developing. The mindset starts developing. Are you seeing that? You are being matured, you are being nurtured. So this is, I was talking about the bamboo tree, ma'am. That's where I ended from. This bamboo tree, when you do research about it, you find that it goes about 5 years. When it's in the ground, for it to sprout out, it has to go through what? This period of time, which is 5 years in the ground. And when it's sprout out, it will stay for about a period of 15 years. That's a very big period. So this is what happens. In a process of waiting, we are being nurtured. I think that there are certain things that's supposed to be done, to be dealt with, so that when that opportunity comes about, you're able to grab it, and it's going to see you through for many years. That's how it goes. So patience, that's where we are lacking from as youths. No wonder we're engaging ourselves in other activities, at some point, we are even able to resolve. Why? Because we don't have patience. So patience pays. For those who haven't yet given that opportunity, an opportunity definitely will come. At one point, will come. Like I said, bamboo tree will take about 5 years. You think that? In the 3 years, it's still growing, it's still miniature, it's still big. That's how it is. Patience really pays. You teachers, may you put this into consideration to say, your time is coming. Who knows? You are the one who can create that opportunity for yourself. While you are waiting, you need to try this, you try that, you try this, you try it. Maybe you didn't acquire knowledge for you to be in a government sector. You acquired knowledge to come up with your own university, maybe college, maybe better secondary school. You the CEO of your own. That's what is needed here. So in the process of waiting, be proactive.
Talking about creating an opportunity for yourself, like we have seen from our previous caller from Zicta there, who was saying we do not utilize social media. We have seen a lot of young people on social media, you know, when the moment they post something, it's about bullying, about other stuff and stuff like that. How do you think, with the current situation, these teachers who have been left out can utilize social media, you know, to create an opportunity for them?
Okay. I do love searching about things. I saw this teacher from Uganda. Like, he was trained for, he got a degree for 4 years. So now, what happened was, came up with online lessons. Isn't that? Online lessons. So through that, the person, like, as we are talking now, has got a very school, well-to-do school. It's happening there. So that's how it is. So everything that happens to us, for me to have this phone, obviously it's telling me to say it will open another door. I think that every opportunity that happens, that comes about, opens another door. So social media has come as an opportunity to this generation, so that so that nobody can lack. Are you seeing that? So that we shouldn't be lacking.
We have a caller. Let me just hold your thoughts. Hello. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, sir.
I'm different Tetiso, calling Lusaka in Chazanga area.
It's good to know that Chazanga is watching. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Sure. I would like just to thank the man that is there, Mr. Chama, for the good contribution that has given. My contribution goes to the issues of the mindset that we have as youth in Zambia. You know, let us talk about the fact of things that are on the ground. When the opportunity has been given to people to be employed at 43,000 or maybe the 30,000 that was given, looking at the people that applied, it's not that they never had the good qualification. You know, the issue of if you can start looking at what kind of criteria is the government use, I think that won't help us much.
Yes.
But the issue is that we should just appreciate and put trust in the people that are in the direction. So that as we do that, we can also learn from other people that have seen the way the government is doing well. And the other aspect that I would want to say is that if we can change the mindset of getting into these institutions to get our degrees and our certifications in order for us to get employed, that is where we miss it so much. But if we can go there and get the knowledge and putting the employment to be the second thought, I think that will be helpful, and people cannot be able to be committing the suicide certificate. But the mindset, that is the issue that we should change, and something then we'll see the development starting to our country. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and I think we've even heard, even the Bible tells us that story of the talents. The one with the 1 talent who buried it, the one with the 5 talents and they became 10 talents, and they utilized them. So we find that the one with the lead to get whatever they have taken away because they didn't use it. And the one with the Lord who used it. Even though they have a lot, they'll be given some more.
Some more, yeah.
So even the Bible itself teaches us that we should actually use whatever opportunities that we have. And I think it really highlights, like our caller has said, like how serious they could go this closed mindset. Miriam, I think all of us, when we start school, are taught every single day, work hard so to get a good job. Now imagine what that does to you, and then you find that you're not able to get that job.
You know, Zipa, that's what I was saying, that, you know, we need to change the mindset. As early as we are young, when we go to these schools, you know, there's need for our teachers, there's need to introduce, or rather, a subject where we'll be taught entrepreneurship skills and stuff like that. Because when you are young, Zipporah, the first thing you'll be like, when you complete your school, what do you want to become? I want to be a doctor, a soldier. Of course, that already tells you that you need to be employed by government. But you know, it's something that you know, changes your mind. You know, you're being programmed. As you are young, you're being programmed. Until you grow older, you're like, okay, you know, let's be a doctor. Exactly.
Because for them, it's so devastating. Like,
I've been dreaming about this all along, and then, you know, I reach at the far end hoping that I'm going to grab this opportunity, and then I don't grab it. You see what next?
You feel like you went to school for nothing.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I went to get 1, I went to get 7, I went this, I went hard. Now it has come down to this. All my resources down the drain. You start thinking of all those.
And that's where depression comes.
In the first place, because whatever knowledge you acquired actually contributes to the person that you are.
Yeah. Talking about youth participation in the economic activities, how do you, what are some of the suggestions you think us youths we can contribute to the country's economic development, in ensuring that we know, despite the huge number of young people not being employed, we are depressed and stuff like that, but how do you think, what are some of the mechanisms that we can use to ensure that we bring this development, we contribute, or rather?
Okay, thank you so much. So I want to share with you a story. Yesterday I was with my cousins, so we were discussing. So I was asking one by one, when you grow up, what do you want to become? I mean, when you finish school, what do you want to become? So the young boy gave me a point where I said, I want to be...
Oh, let me just hold your thought before. Hello, good morning.
Yes, morning, madam.
Morning, thank you. You're through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Who are we talking to?
This is Mr. Muller.
Mr. Muller, please go ahead with the contribution, sir.
I'm also just out as well.
Hello. Can you speak up? We're not able to hear clearly.
Okay, please, in case you're calling us and you're near your TV set and there's we can get the feedback. So please reduce the volume on your TV set if you're calling us. But please do call us. The line to call us is screening or is there on your screen. Please do give us your call. And in case you're watching us live on Facebook page, please send us those comments. We'll be able to read them through. Yes.
Yeah. So he said, I want to become who I want to be, who am I supposed to become, who I was born to be. That's what he said. So it's reminded me one thing.
Let me just hold your thoughts. Hello, good morning.
This is amazing.
Hello, good morning. Okay, we seem to lose that caller.
So for the us youths to add value, you see, for one to be appreciated, you need to appreciate yourself first. For you to be understood as someone who has got value, you need first to add value to yourself. For us to contribute to the economy of a national economy, you need first to add value to yourself. What do I mean? You need first to develop as an individual. So here is where we are lacking creativity. As youths, we need to be so creative. You see, there's a part government, there's a vital role government will do play in our lives, as well as there's another part we need to play as youths, okay, in order to contribute massively to this economic development. So now, what contribution are we supposed to undergo? Is there a go?
Oh. No, I don't know.
Okay. So I'm talking about creativity. I think that I grew up from a copper belt kid. So I growing up when I was just a little kid, like I remember in my teen, I was watching this guy called Mkuka. Is it Kampamba Mwanga? He's a soccer player, the one who scored for semi-final in the Kosafa. That man was my senior at school. So my point here is that back then government had introduced a very good creative part in our education area, where they could encourage us to do the sporting thingy, we're doing PA, PT, something like that, PE. So we could go there for sports and the likes. So I searched some friends, like they got lucky by through just finishing. When they finish school, they joined national team. They joined this in Ghana. I remember Kampamba joined Ghana. You see. So those such kind of activities, I think that they open our eyes as youths. I think that they open a door for us as youths. Now, this is now we are lacking. If we can have now more of such activities, because I do believe that there are some people who are good technical wise. So imagine if in a government sector, we shouldn't be just focused on the education part, but also in a developmental part, whereby the government introduces activities such as sporting activities, they develop the facilities, you see. They also introduce something like computer activities, where they even provide some of the computers for those as form of part-time employment for those people. Because I do remember sports activities were part-time. As from Kampamba, the guy I'm talking about here, he used to sponsor himself through the very activities. I remember when you go to my sprints and the likes, you could come out the best. He was offered something using that. So we contribute, it contributes. So that's why I said there's a part government need to play, there's a role government need to play, and also us as individuals, we need now to do what? To take a total participation in that. I think that. So government will come up with opportunities, will create opportunities to us. And now we grab it with dedication. Obviously, we're going to achieve. That's the way it is.
Yes, definitely. And even when you're talking about teachers earlier, we were talking about people taking advantage of today's digital space. For example, Miriam, I've got a free business idea for teachers. For example, like if you use the same platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, you know that they pay for you for adverts. Whenever advert is played on your state. So maybe, for example, for those teachers who have been left out, if you start doing like free teaching, you just form a page where even a group of you with different subjects as teachers, you will be teaching online for free and you'll be getting revenue through the adverts that are played on your page. And when I say money, Miriam, when I say money, I mean like about 100,000 per month. That's what some of these pages make. You imagine if you divide it among all of you.
Exactly.
Really? So that's something that should actually be considered on a serious note.
Seizing the opportunity.
Yes.
And as time goes by.
Oh, we have another call.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
We're fine, thank you. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine here in Emaksdale. It's very cold.
I can imagine. I hope you're keeping warm.
Yes, I'm keeping warm.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
My contribution is that I wonder if it's true these people have killed themselves. Because there's so much politicking in Zambia. A normal person cannot kill him or herself. Because you have seen that new dawn has opened up hope. And why should somebody be hopeless and kill himself? It's not true. Unless we see the grave of those who have committed suicide. There's too much politics in Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
Thank you, bye.
That's quite a very interesting comment.
Actually verified.
Yeah, do interesting. That's a.
If you can track at least one family, it says.
No. It was. I saw one of the stories being done by the national broadcasting station, ZNBC, where it was reported that one who was not recruited as a teacher committed suicide. So these are, in as much as we can say no, this is politics, and stuff like that, they're just trying to politicize things. But you should get to understand, Zipporah, that people's emotion are being different. Yeah, different. Yes.
That your dream has been shattered.
Exactly. How do you take that? You're not going to say no just because I want to politicize things, political things, stuff like that. I want to criticize the government. No, it's about you as an individual. You're affected. You have been left out. You're not recruited. So yeah.
You see, ma'am, for correction's sake, depression comes as out of too much expectations. I think that here's someone who's graduated 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Has been trying out. So the expectations on how it was a very huge opportunity. Over 30,000 graduates were supposed to be offered jobs, right? And you are left out over the 30,000. So you begin asking yourself, am I in existence? What am I doing? So our expectations really, at some point, when you're disappointed, you can be depressed. It's real. Because it's a mental part. I think that the moment you begin expecting, because people expect it to say, I think this upper pivot, it's my time. I think that, this is my time. And some were even rejoicing, some fasted. Imagine someone who fasted for about 3 days fasting, for them to be given that opportunity. I think that, and they end up being left out. What will happen next? You see, psychologically affected. They end up being depressed. And such individuals, when you go in mental health deep, you would find that they don't have someone to comfort them. I think that they cannot be comforted. And it's very difficult for them to be noticed at some point. You find maybe that person is even isolated. So it's real. Things happen. It's cause for us all as in to be checking up checking up on each other, because it's important that some people need attention. I think that they need attention. Individuals of such, they need attention. They need to be recognized and being encouraged, being counseled. That's how it happens. So if I were in a home where someone was left out, obviously I'll be close to that person so that I encourage that person to say, okay, there's something big coming for you. That's how it is.
And my concern really is about especially people in rural areas, at least here in Lusaka, or maybe these places where by the car, someone can travel here and get that mental maybe health advice. But what happens to people in rural areas without these facilities? What picture should we see maybe in terms of building institutions, especially in rural areas?
Yeah, it's very much true, ma'am. I'm calling up not just for government. I'm calling up for you, Madam Spoiler, and you, Madam. Let's team up. Let's team up. Let's be creative enough in helping others. You see, the time wasted in helping others is time investing. I think that if today I invest in me, today I invest in you, Madam Spoiler, I'm investing not just for me, not just for you, but for the future, generation, for your kids, for my kids. That's how it is. So let's come up as a whole, as a country, as a whole. Let's team up. Those who are privileged to our fund sources, let's source out. Let's team up so that we can come up with these institutions. I'm calling up for that. I love the way Mr. Zulu said you need my contact. Very important. Otherwise my services will be needed there. I think that. So it's about all of us now coming up. Let's showcase. Let's help out. That's how it is. It's not about the government. Government. What is government? It's us. I think that. It's us. So let's be creative enough. Some people, what they need, they are weights just. Some people need financial muscles. I think that. They need that support. Imagine I'm getting 500 per month, and I just put it there on my budget to say 100 will be given to the orphans, 100 will be given to the. So that's how it is.
Just hold your thought. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
We are fine, thank you. How are you, sir?
Fine. I'm trying to contribute to this topic which is ongoing.
Please go ahead with your contribution. Can we get your name?
Brian Moyo.
Mr. Moyo, it's good to know that you're watching.
Yes.
Where are you watching us from?
Well, Petauke.
It's good to know that Petauke is watching. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, what I wanted to contribute is look at some of the teachers' recruitment to the youth and the others who may do this teaching course. They should take heart. Because look, in the history of this country, 30,000 plus recruitment is not a joke.
Yes.
And moreover, to those people who have been left out, they should also think of the other private schools which are other teachers are going on payroll. They've created vacancies. And again, there are people, the other teachers who are going on retirement. There will be replacement. One should very worry because I'm one of the persons who stayed in society for more than 20 years without getting employed. But I was employed recently.
Congratulations.
So people should really, take that once they take their life. It's time for them to push up. They should keep on pushing. Then the situation which we had, that somebody took is right. So that's what I wanted to contribute.
Mr. Moyo, before you go, Mr. Moyo, before you go,
yes.
You said you were 20 years in society before you were employed.
Yes, I finished my education in 1995.
Wow. So during that period, what are some of the things that you were doing in order
I've been doing the research projects. And I used to work these temporary jobs like Stanford Tobacco Services and others. So as I was waiting, I was doing something to keep myself going. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. That's some encouragement there.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
This is a very, very great encouragement, Zipporah, for the past 20 years. And he didn't take his life. He accepted the situation. This is a fact. I haven't been employed yet. My time will come, like you said. let me wait. But if I'm waiting, what am I going to do during this period? Yes. And this is where we saw him saying, no, I did, contractor jobs here and there just to sustain myself and make ends meet. Yes. Yeah. Your thought on that?
Well, I just want to congratulate him, and indeed, like I said, patience pays. Patience pays. So we can learn from him. Yes. And I want now to make a comment on what I said, talking about as youth participation in economic development. So I want to make also a point of Spola where she keeps on emphasizing on creating institution for mental health. You see, back then, the time for campaigns, like I followed it up. Yeah, I followed it up. Like, you see, UPND distributed a lot of funds, like giving out funds. We talk about PF. They did the same. Now I want to get the point, because we are talking about development, and believe me, political aspect has to play as well. In development, we are talking about now political aspect in development. You see, I calculated how much they spent just for Kamala South, where I'm coming from. They're giving us my 2,000, all those money. So when you get that funds, and if government can come up with a policy whereby they say during the campaigns that unnecessary dispense of funds shouldn't be a case. You see, this one now the whites have branded us. They have really branded us in the sense that they would fund you to go and waste that money. I think that they give you the conditions. This is how it should be. We are giving you these funds, and now in return when you win, okay? I think that this is why we don't develop. When you win, they come back, they get everything that you had. I think that they get everything in return. You give them a lot, as in doubled. So now my point here exactly that government needs to come up with a policy. During the campaigns, those funds they waste should go into the creation of institutions, number one. Creating job opportunities. Because, believe me, there are three major aspects in development. We are talking about land, capital, labor, and what? Entrepreneurship. So if go in between Central Province and Lusaka Province, Pachibombo Pakata, the land is plenty. Imagine if you can come up with the initiative of cooperatives. I think that you come up with youth cooperatives. You say, okay, the people from Kamala South, the people from this side, the funds will be giving you the lands. I think that we'll give you the land, and the land, for example, maybe you start rearing cattle and the likes, you start, keeping animals and the likes. So we'll fund you in that. Instead of wasting money for Chitenge material, which is going to be wasted. I think that instead of funding in for someone, they buy beer during the campaigns. They'll buy you beer, but after they win, they'll comment not to do that. I think that. So they'll buy beer for you. For beer that costs you 2,000, that is wastage. I think that someone is giving you just for a drink, 2,000, in order for you to vote for that person. Now, how many are we here in Zambia? We're about over 18,000. I mean, 18 million. Now, how much do they spend for Chitenge material? Don't you think if we can buy a land, okay, you buy a land, you give this cooperative, you'll be rearing chicken, this cooperative, I mean, you'll be keeping this. I mean, it's really important. We can develop like that because number one, we are talking about food security. Food will be enough. We have plenty to eat. I think that Zambia is a landlocked country, right? Meaning, if we can grow much, if we can go deeper into agriculture, we invest much into agriculture, especially the money wasted during the campaigns. That's why I want to emphasize much. Because I know there's so much wastage. Some they get from the government coffers, others they get from NGOs, I mean, even others well wishers. So those funds, they need to be put into good use. I think if the policy can come up, okay, because good policies creates opportunities for the people. I think that. So we are doing it not for ourselves, we are doing it for others. I think that. We are not just doing it for this generation, we are talking about the generation to come.
Yes, it's definitely a good idea. Although I think maybe for political, I think they want to get maybe visibility, quick visibility, everywhere. But of course, that's definitely something that we have to consider in terms of mindset change for these people.
Exactly.
Definitely, Miriam.
Yeah, exactly, Zipporah. We have seen a lot of opposition, even current political parties, when we come to near the election period, where they would, give funds to individuals and what. So, in short, you're saying there's need for government to put up a policy. When you're found doing that, it's a law. But you also find youth who say, I'm dara somzach pasako idioms. Again, drinking. You will find youth saying that.
That's again the issue of handouts. That's what has brought a culture of people depending
the mindset, exactly.
So maybe as someone who advocates, what would be your advice in terms of what are you advocating for in terms of maybe handouts?
Because young people feel like they're entitled to certain things because they were given this during the elections and they were taught, no, when we win, you'll be given more. So they feel they're entitled to that.
You see, madam, that is slavery mindset that they do cultivate in us. Today, if I ask you for two quarter talk time, right? You give me. Don't you think that talk time will finish it? Oh, do definitely. Madam Zipporah, I come to you, buy me maybe chocolate. Don't you think I'll just find myself there and then? So my point exactly that there is this slavery mindset which politicians, not we have. Sometimes politicians, they do cultivate in us. I think that.
And that's what causes the problem.
And even this is the reason why someone who has been left out for teaching employment is committing suicide, because there's just something that started long time ago. I mean, the mistake we have been done long time ago when Bakaunda, Badadi, sorry, I read that. You see, he was, every time, by then it was, when you're done with school, you're direct given, you are entitled for a job. I think that. Sometimes the grade 9 would be picked to go and join the army. But the population by then was not as compared to this, the way we are right now. So that thing has been in us. And you are seeing that there is need for revolutionary here now. That's why now we need better, new blood. I think that, new mindset. Fresh blood, because the leadership we do have, they are the ones who enjoyed those privileges, as such has been extended to us. Imagine if we can have now the youths, the youths in leadership with the new mindset. Because it's a new mindset you're talking about. If you want to believe what I'm telling you, just early this year, I attended a conference for Dumisa. We have about 13,000. In the stadium. So meaning there's a new mindset now.
Just hold, you thought we have a call. Hello, good morning.
I just want to make a contribution.
Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Likan. I'm calling from Shidawombo.
It's good that Shidawombo is watching. Please go ahead with your contribution, ma'am.
I think I would just like to say that we shouldn't put much trust in the government or in the human beings. We should always put our trust in God. Because when we put our trust in God, no matter how we may be disappointed, I think we may be able to push through. Because it's so touching to hear that somebody takes his own life just because he has been late. There is much to be done. So when we put everything in God, I think we can always have hope. We can even get so much encouragement from the church, and life just on our own understanding. That's what I really can say.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Some good encouragement there. Being a Christian nation, we put our faith in God.
Thank you so much for your contribution. You see, people keep on preaching heaven. We go to heaven and we enjoy. But here is the thing. What are you going to enjoy in heaven, the thing that you cannot enjoy now? Let's create heaven here. And let's enjoy here while we have this time. It's an opportunity. The land was given to us to enjoy. We are created with a dominion. I think that According to the Bible, God gave dominion to human being. Okay? And he was saying, go and be fruitful. So let's enjoy now. It's not always about God. God has given us his God. He's there. But it's about us now waking up and start appreciating what God has given us. How are we going to appreciate something God has given you? It's by grabbing the opportunity. Have you seen that? Yes.
And I think we are destined for bigger disappointment on Friday, because at least this is 30,000. But then when you talk about 11,000, Miriam, when you talk about health workers, we're having the announcement, or the printing, or rather, according to what we promised, if that didn't change, this Friday. And really, if you look at, the last time I attended the press briefing by the Civil Service Commission, who said they have received a total of over 137,000 applications, over 137,000 for 11,000 health workers. So, Miriam,
that shows you how many people. Exactly. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We are through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, I'm calling from Mazabuka.
It's good to know that Mazabuka is watching.
Yes, my name is Christina.
Please
I just want to thank the government for what they have done to recruit 30 teachers. It's very good and very development. This good development which has come, and also it will make the country to develop more. But I'm crying. Well, I'm crying because the government increase more early childhood teachers. There was few. So we are thinking, as early childhood teachers, where are we going? Maybe hoping next time they are going to increase more early childhood teachers. But yeah, because they were supposed to increase more early childhood teachers, secondary teachers, and just to make the average number. Now look what they have planned. We have left out. And look at our age. Look at the years. I completed in 2015. I'm here again. So, yes, I'm praying to God the next time they are going to do that. I'm thinking at my age. Look. Yes. So we are trying to the government. Next time we have to increase more early childhood teachers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A very genuine concern that we also had yesterday, where people were calling that the government should have segmented, this recruitment, because the focus was more on primary teachers. Anyway, we hope that as government has said that they are still recruiting, we hope that they will be included more.
But I don't know, Miriam, if maybe it can be helpful. But I think they do print the criteria. Do they actually indicate? They do actually indicate people who are eligible to apply, isn't it? The criteria.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering what will happen, because here from my calculation, when I calculate 137,000 minus, maybe that was 11,000, slightly over 11,000. So we have about over 125,000 who will be disappointed. 125,000 who will be disappointed.
Maybe they were trying to push the number to 12,000. I don't know, looking at how they're going to do their calculation.
Looking at the teachers.
I know, and the funds, of course, the resources, we shouldn't forget about
looking
that.
At how they increased for teachers.
Yeah.
And it's actually a good thing that they increased, but in Zambia, of course, I don't know, anyway, maybe the economists can advise better, but I read a Facebook article by one of the economists who was saying it's bad economics to recruit more than you actually
budgeted for.
So it's good on the side of the teachers, but it's bad on the side of the
government. Because we're talking about financial discipline, again, you need to service your debt and stuff like that.
Okay,
and
so what's your message maybe to those, especially health workers, as we go up? Maybe the equipment of health workers, those who will be left out, it will be a bigger disappointment than even the teachers. What's your message to them?
Well, I just want to say those who are going to be given the chance, appreciate it and cherish it. Never should you brag about it, but just understand and accept to say it's God's time, and God's time is the best. For those who may not make it, it's an opportunity for you to open a big hospital. Because definitely, yeah. So madam, the thing is that if at all there could be proper planning, government proper planning, whereby they say in a period of 30, from today. Okay, this is 2022, right? So 2022 to 2030, this is the number of expected health workers. You see, as such, obviously, if they say it's 11,000 from this period to that period, at this period, people shouldn't have that much expectations. Like I said, the reason why people have been depressed is because there are so much expectations. The number is too much, too big. I think that the number is just too big. And we're talking about the facilities. There are a few. Talking about the income, we don't have that much financial muscle because the other development activities not needed to be taken. To undergo. So now is the thing. Government should come up with a proper plan, not just for 10 years, but a plan for about 30 years. So that people are aware to say, at this period, the number of health professionals expected to be employed are such, so that we have less burden on people's minds. I think that, so that people can start now thinking outside the box, okay? Whereby they shouldn't just be being closed in the government coffers, but also start thinking about contributing to this, contributing massively to the economic growth.
And I think the complaint previously has been that even as much as we say people to think outside the box, maybe there's no money, but now we have seen the CDF. And as well as the Ministry of Youth and Sports actually has a number of projects.
Exactly.
From Mazikta here, they have a number of employment projects. So I think really the issue is about changing people's mindset to actually embrace programs that are available.
It's okay, I think this will be our last call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. You're through to Camnet. Yes, you're live on the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Who are we talking to? Kindly speak up, sir. Oh, it's good to know that Kawa is watching. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, my contribution is that they are pushing too much on the government, and they are at the point of the government to get that sort of a premise people. And that's getting question for them. The first home to every home should be bigger than the country, whereby the protection of their especially the protection of their family and children. I think they're complaining the way they do. We should get used to what we have within our home. The school also supplements the So you cannot let the weak home. You don't have to get the position to recover as a family. You just have to push all the up to the government. Not all people who work.
Okay.
Something like that. So equally the professional colleges, they are all over, they professionalize, they don't get into it when they want the government to offer. Or what they want is to pay people and get the money from them. So you see there are so many issues and this present, we are going for a career which today is a great opportunity. How do you go to one to two where you are going to say this career is a level 2? That is why you go there another day back to get second work. So what about the
Alright, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Can I make a last comment on this one? You see, governments need help. This is why they have realized to say, there's a need of CDF. CDF funds is coming as a result of how they have realized how people can contribute, can add up to the financial muscles, government financial muscles coffers. You see, the CDF fund, whoever is going to be given that, they are encouraged to do to venture into entrepreneurship. I think that, like I said, if you grow maize today, then you sell you export, right? You export to DRC. Don't you think you have money? You bring money in a circulation. That's how it is. So government also needs help by us as youths, because we still have energy. We have that zeal. I think that we still have a potential. So let's realize this, that we as youths, you've got potential to reach out to even help government. If God, by God's grace, you are given the CDF funds, you know, it is the moment you receive them, be excited and just misuse. You need to put that money into proper use. I think that money needed to be put into proper use, whereby you start now contributing massively to the government. You know, yes, that's how it is.
And I think I mean like the caller's comment where you're saying each family should be regarded as a country, where all of you like you've got a different role. Yes. So this one is specialized in this, that one in that. I think that's the way forward.
Yeah, that's the way forward.
And I think maybe we're now going towards the conclusion of our program. So just thank you to our viewers out there who've made various contributions, and as well as to those who are following us on Facebook. And so even as we conclude, Mr. Chairman, maybe what are some of the concluding remarks? Okay.
To those teachers who are left out, there's still more coming for you. And the expected health workers also, those who are going to be given that opportunity, cherish it and use it as an opportunity to create up something big. And for those who are not going to be given that opportunity, it's telling us to wait. It's calling up for patience, so that when that opportunity is given, you are going to put it to put it into good use. Fellow Zambians, I'm Patrick, a student at Mwanawasa Medical University, and I just want to say shout out to all those who have participated. I really appreciate. And if anything, those who need psychological help, I'm here. Mental help, I can help. Emotional-wise, we can help, because I'm specialized in mental health and clinical psychiatry. So who can help out?
Thank you so much. You have heard it all. In case you need mental health services, please do visit the nearest clinic so that you can get the help that you need. You cannot solve depression by yourself. You need someone to talk to. But anyway, this is where we've come to the end of our show. I was your host, Miriam Kaimba, and my colleagues, Zipporah Mshara. For us, it's bye-bye and God bless.